Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy, yummy. Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum.
What's up, y'all? It's Liah, and today I'm coming with a cooking video. You know, I really don't do these that often, but on Easter, I posted my Easter dinner, and a lot of y'all was asking me, tell me how to make that chicken. So I'm gonna make that chicken, and I'm gonna let y'all know how I did it. So first thing first, I gotta wash my hands. You know, there's corona going on. Excuse my nails and excuse my edges.
I'm such a trip, but I decided to do a voiceover for some of my video where the audio was giving me a hard time. But here's all the seasonings that I use. I personally think it's best when you let it marinate overnight, but it's completely up to you. Next, what we're gonna do is wash the whole chicken. Now, everyone washes their chicken differently. Just make sure it's washed. This is how I wash my chicken, but at the end of the day, we just want it washed. And my chicken has some twine on it. That's that string right here. So I'm just gonna take that off, put it to the side, and continue washing my chicken. Be on the lookout for any feathers. Of course, no one wants to eat that. So be sure to pluck any feathers out.
This is the back of the chicken. If you're getting a whole chicken, look into this. This is what you're looking for. This is the spine of the chicken, the neck. So I'm literally taking my kitchen scissors and cutting the spine. This is not for the, what is it called? The faint hearted? I don't know. But this is how I like to prepare my chicken. I like for it to be cut in half, kind of open. You'll see what I mean by that. Okay. This is pretty graphic, but the chicken's fine. And I'm gonna set this to the side. Not because I want to eat it, but just because this excess fat, you want to go ahead and get rid of that too. And I believe there may be some more on this side. And also look right here. Essentially, you're just looking for any extra fat. You don't want to get rid of all of it, but you want to get rid of a good portion of it. You want some of it for some seasoning. Okay, so I'll put this in the sink, and I'm gonna wash some of this out. So open chicken, that's how it's gonna look when we're cooking it. Okay, so run the water, and I'll be back once it's finished being washed out.
Now that we got our chicken good and clean, what I'm gonna do is take the garlic salt. Now, this is a staple in the house. So you gotta have it. We're gonna take a generous amount of it and just season it around the entire chicken. Up next, I'm gonna take my Maggi chicken pollo seasoning. You'll find this on the international aisle is where I find it, or you can use the chicken bouillon cube powder mix. But this is where the magic happens. I promise you. Put a good portion. You can actually put a little bit more than that, but honestly, that's all I had. I used the rest of what I had. So be real generous with that pollo seasoning, and take any type of seasoning salt you had. I tried the Sylvia's this time. Usually I'll use Lawry's, or what's the other one called? The Slap Your Mama sauce, the seasoning salt. Either way, it still came out good. But yeah, just use a seasoning salt and just pour a generous amount of that as well. Next up, we're going to use the Goya adobo seasoning. This is the all-purpose, and this is the one with the red top. So just season a good portion of that. I really do not measure my seasoning anymore. So just try to take a look at what I'm doing. If you're used to measuring it, then that's fine. Next is the rosemary. So you can use fresh rosemary. I believe Food Lion has it for 99 cents fresh. But if you want to use a dried one, that's fine as well. And paprika, just for a little red on it, you know, just for a little coloring. Once you get to this part, just sit back and look at all that seasoning. Oh, it just looks so good, y'all. It's going to taste amazing. All you have to do now is just massage it all over the entire chicken. Flip it around. Make sure that the seasoning is distributed amongst the entire whole chicken. I'll be flipping it quite a bit just to make sure that every nook and cranny of this chicken is seasoned to perfection. Next, we're going to take the minced garlic. It is important that it's minced garlic. We're going to take about a tablespoon of that and just massage it into the chicken, just like how we massaged all the other seasonings into the chicken. And I know you may be thinking, Leah, we already put garlic salt in it. We need that pure garlic. Go ahead and put that pure garlic in there, you know? Now let's go ahead and wash our hands. I know we want to keep the kitchen as clean and as sterile as possible, so let's wash our hands and wipe the counters down as we go. I know that may go without saying, but this may be somebody's first time really in the kitchen like that. So yeah, you got to wash your hands as much as possible, you know, to keep everything good, clean, and sterile. What I'm doing now is taking some fresh chives, and watch the size that I cut my chives into. It's not big, maybe a half a centimeter, but cut it like so. Now I'm going to take my fresh thyme and just lay it across the chicken. Just watch how I do it. You can take dried thyme and do this and just sprinkle it up there. It's completely up to you. But, you know, the fresh thyme just gives it a little look. You know, it just looks good. It tastes the same, but it just looks good. If you're all about presentation, then this will be like the wow factor. This will be what makes it look like it came out of a restaurant. Believe me. What I want you to do now is grab your onion. I like yellow onions, but if you like sweet onions, that's fine. Just grab it and slice it like so. Now, what I like to do is put my onions underneath my chicken. It gives the chicken a good flavor, and also it gives the onion a nice texture. The onion goes right into the gravy, y'all. It is amazing. As you can see, I'm literally tucking the onion underneath the chicken. So just follow my lead. Don't be scared to touch the chicken. You know, just lift it up and tuck the onions right on under there. If some onions go outside of the chicken, that's fine. That's completely fine. But just make sure that for the most part, most of the onions are underneath the chicken.
It's best if you let it sit overnight, but we don't have overnight. You know, we're ready to eat now. So, hour and a half, let it sit in a refrigerator, and then you pop it out, and I'll tell you what we're gonna do next.
Now that the chicken is finally finished marinating, we're gonna take a half a stick of butter, 4 tablespoons of butter, as you can see it says. And what we're gonna do is just open it up, and it should be a soft consistency. You might want to let the butter sit out, but we're just literally massaging the butter onto the chicken. I could have let the butter soften a little more. That's why it looks like it's giving me a hard time. But either way, the butter is up there and the seasoning is still up there as well. Just to let you know, if you have wanted it to not be so sticky to your hands, then yeah, just let the butter soften just a little more. And when you're finished, it should look something like this. This next part is completely optional. I took some dried thyme and just seasoned it or sprinkled it all over the chicken. That's completely optional. As I said, you don't have to do it. I just wanted to.
We're about to put the food in the oven. I have it set on 375, and we're still gonna keep it in the aluminum foil. The reason why is because that is gonna make, look, that's the door chime. But anyway, the reason why is because that's gonna lock in all the moisture, give you a nice little gravy, and you're gonna love it. Just wait.
This is what you should be expecting your chicken to look like after an hour and a half of cooking on 375. Now, I know y'all are like, look, why is the chicken not done and it's been an hour and 30 minutes? We are slow cooking this. Look at those onions under there. You know, we got to give this time. So next, just take some of that gravy and pour it over top of the chicken. That's what's going to give it that nice brown color. That's what's going to give it that nice brown coat on the top. So just do that, and we are going to up the heat to about 400 and put this back in the oven for about 30 minutes. Open the oven and boom, look at that. Y'all, the smell is just, it will slap you in the face. It'll make you want to go ahead and bite it right now. But we want it a little browner. So now we up the ante and broil the chicken. Make sure that whenever you're broiling chicken that you're close to the kitchen or in the kitchen, because you want to keep your eye on it. You don't want it to burn. And about after 5-7 minutes, it's going to look just like this. The gravy is still there. Nothing is dried out. It's so tender. It's so juicy. Y'all have to try this garlic herb chicken, whole chicken. It is so good. Tender to the touch. You don't even really need a fork for this, I'm telling you. And that, my friend, is how I make my whole garlic and herb chicken. And if you like it, hit the like button, turn on the notifications as well so that you won't miss another recipe, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Go ahead, do it right now. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, love, Liah.